But despite 58 real people getting shot and 8 real people dying over the weekend, MSNBC is still saying Trump sending in the Guard completely unnecessary.
Governor Pritzker has said they don't want federal intervention. You heard the same from Mayor Johnson there. But how do you square that when you have 50 people shot over just one weekend? Does that make that case harder?
No, it doesn't necessarily make the case harder, because I would expect that wherever you go, if there are military troops on the ground and at corners, yeah, you're going to see a change. But going to the voters' comment, that elderly couple, is this the kind of permanent solution that we should be talking about as for the future of our country? What kind of society are we going to give to our children and grandchildren where we have this military force on our streets? That is not a permanent solution. And crime has gone down in most major cities. Nobody's cheering for any crime that takes place. But there are ways to do this. The partnerships that take place between federal, state, and local governments that have always in place could certainly be strengthened. The funding that's given to violence intervention.
So he's admitting that the troops would have a positive benefit. But he's saying, no, we can't do that because the well-to-do, comfortable white liberals in Chicago would feel uncomfortable, and fighting Donald Trump is fashionable in their social circles. But despite being front and center to the brutal reality of the crime problem in Chicago, some black residents, unable to escape the Democrat plantation, unable to see the Democrats' true disdain for them, have drinking the Kool-Aid.
We're in Chicago's most violent neighborhood as far as rates of shootings go. And even though we have seen decreases, people are still tragically getting shot and killed. We're on our way to talk to a woman who's lived in this neighborhood for a long time. And I have a feeling she has some thoughts on this whole National Guard possibility.
My grandkids can't sit outside. They can't sit in the living room or at the kitchen table because a bullet may come through.
Rochelle Sykes has lived in West Garfield Park all her life. Her neighborhood's changed. President Trump has talked about sending in the National Guard to help with this situation.
That's not the solution.
So even you live in what is known to be the most violent neighborhood in the city in terms of shooting rates.
Mm-hmm.
You don't believe the National Guard should be here?
No, we don't need a Band-Aid to cover up the problem. What we need is a solution. No offense to the president, but we actually need someone that's in this community. You need to go and talk to the children in the schools and ask them the question, what would make you feel safe?
Last week, I posted a video of CNN interviewing Chicago residents, and they were saying that they wanted the National Guard. So part of me feels like this interview is contrived PR to battle that narrative, because how can this lady possibly say, my kids can't go outside, they can't sit at the kitchen table, they can't sit in the living room because bullets might come flying through the window, but yet you don't think National Guard should be deployed? If she's being genuine, she is what I'm sure a lot of other black conservatives run into when talking to other black people, which is a vote blue no matter who Democrat whose loyalty was established post-civil rights. There are some black people that you can talk to, present every fact to them, have a real conversation, come to an agreement. You can get them to admit that the Democrat Party doesn't care about black people, have ruined the lives of black people, but they'll refuse to vote Republican because there's something that's just ingrained in them that tells them to vote Democrat. Because how can a normal person accept such abject terror and danger and think that military presence, however uncommon, wouldn't be far safer?